Thank you. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of What's on Your Mind. And I have some guests with me tonight. I have Kiki.
Hey y'all.
And I have Mackenzie.
Hey y'all.
And so they're going to be joining me for a little while tonight. So welcome to another edition of What's on Your Mind. I am your host, Benita. This is Kiki, and this is Faith. And tonight we're going to be talking about facing our fears and overcoming our fears. And, so I'm going to talk to the girls for a little while first, and then they're going to go to bed, and then we're going to pick up where we're going to finish talking about facing our fears. So they wanted to come on tonight with me, which they rarely get a chance to do because normally they're going to bed by the time I come on or they're at school. So tonight is really special that they get to come on with me. And I hope you guys enjoyed the show tonight. Good evening, YouTube. Come on in, you guys. Come on in. Good evening, Instagram. You guys come on in. Good evening, Facebook. Y'all come on in. Come on in. You all always do so well. So again, tonight I got my girls with me, and tonight we're going to talk about fear. So I'm going to talk to them first, and after I talk to them for a little while, they're going to go to bed, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk to you guys about facing our fears, okay? So I want to start. Let me start here with my 17-year-old. This is Kiki.
Hey y'all.
Lucy, that's my namesake, and this is Mackenzie. She's 10 years old.
Hey.
Hey, so tonight we're going to be talking about facing our fears. And so I was talking to them and I was asking them what things have they noticed in their young lives, because a lot of times we don't think children have fears and things that they worry about and things like that, but they really do. You know, they're not little people with little brains. They're just little people in smaller bodies, okay? But doesn't mean they feel less, they think less, they hurt less, they fear less. Doesn't mean any of that. It just means that they're smaller, you know, and uh they need more attention, they need more care, all of those things. So I wanted them, they wanted to come on tonight before they go to bed. So let's get right into it, talk to them for a little bit. Let's start with the 10-year-old. She really has to go to bed first. Plus she's had the flu, so she's been the sick and the shut in. So we thank God she's doing a little bit better tonight. So so Faith, what things do you fear?
Spiders
Uh-huh.
and also
So you're afraid of spiders. What else
yeah,
are you afraid of?
rock climbing.
Rock climbing. Why would you be afraid of rock climbing? Is that something you thought about you might want to do when you get older, is rock climb?
Yes, sir.
But you're afraid to do it. So why are you afraid of rock climbing? If that's something you really want to do, why do you think you're afraid to do it?
Because sometimes the rocks they kind of break and
Mhm.
fall down. I'm scared of that part.
So you're afraid that while you're rock climbing, the rocks will slide and then you'll fall.
And I'm scared of that. And I'm scared about being on an airplane.
Oh, that's a good one. Because there's a lot of people afraid of flying in an airplane. They're scared of heights. That's a real good one. A lot of people, I know a lot of grown people that are afraid to get on the airplane. You know what I'm saying? So that's a really good one. What do you think will happen, like, if you got on the airplane?
It'll probably be fun.
Uh-huh. So, I mean, you have to try it. You've been on the plane before, haven't you? Okay. Oh, that was you. I know one of y'all started traveling with me when y'all was like 3 months, 6 months old, something like that. And so, but do you trust God, right?
Yes, sir.
So, do you think that God want us to be afraid of different things?
No.
So, do you think that if you prayed and you was like, okay, Lord, I really want to start climb, I want to have a rock climbing experience, or I want to get on the airplane. Do you think if you prayed that God would help you?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. So then would you still be afraid after you prayed, or do you think God will take the fear away, or do you think the fear would stay? What do you think will happen?
He will take the fear away.
He would take the fear away, and then you can go rock climbing, right?
It's by yourself.
So Kiki, Let's talk to the 17-year-old for a second. So, what things are you afraid of?
Um, to be honest, starting my own business.
You afraid to start your own business? Okay, so what business would you start?
Nail in here.
So you want to do nail and hair. Okay, so you really have already really off to a really good start. You started doing your nails. You did Faith Nails for a program she had at school. So you did your nails. So are your nails done now?
They are.
So you want to show the people how you can overcome your fear. So she's 17 and so she wants to start doing nails and stuff. So one of my friends, shout out to Pastor Harley. Woo, woo.
I'll see you tomorrow.
um, so she gave her the nail kit, and she has really been doing a marvelous job. So one of the things about facing your fears, even when you want to start a business or you want to start doing new things, you really just have to kind of just do it. You know what I'm saying? You have to just jump out there and do it. So do you think going forward, what's your biggest fear about reaching out and start doing nails for other people? And do you have any fears about that?
Not really,
Uh-huh.
because when I start doing other people's nails, I can get more feedback besides the feedback that's just in the house and
Right.
my friends' feedback and stuff like that. So
That's
it's an
good.
open minded, and I can perfect my work.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. So if you had to say, this is what I'm afraid of, like in life overall, what would be the one thing you could say, this is what I'm afraid of right here?
Setback.
Setbacks. Oh, wow. 17, guys. That's good. That's good. Because a lot of times we see ourselves moving and moving and moving forward, and then I have that same fear as well, especially when you have, you see yourself, you've gone so far, you've grown, and you've had to overcome some things. Hey, so Sharika says go for it because she was afraid to start her daycare. Now she don't even have room for any more kids. So so that was something she wanted. She had to get over her fear. So a lot of times when we're going and going and going, and we've had to really, push ourselves to get better and do better and come from a bad place or whatever we might have been going through, and then we start seeing progress. That is true. A lot of people fear that setback, you know, and that's a very good point. Even at 17, for you to bring that up, I'm shocked. I'm surprised. Especially in business, whether you're in business, in ministry, in relationships, you know, it's a lot of ways you can have a setback. So if you could do one thing in life altogether, but you're afraid to do it, what would that one thing be?
Taking more risks.
Taking more risk, such as what would you do?
Started this earlier at an earlier phase in life
Oh, okay.
before I hit 17.
Oh,
Girl almost got one more year of school, so better be out.
yep. Peace.
Graduation.
Yes, haunted. Say it again.
We got this
Graduation. Say it one more time. Graduation. Ooh, I feel my help coming. Let's say it all together. Graduation. Ooh, I felt something right there. I felt it. I felt it. I felt it, honey. I felt it. And so a lot of times, David is saying if you're too comfortable, you're not really learning and you're not growing. So it's important that we do take risk. It's important that we do get outside of our comfort zone. So if you get too comfortable, it's like, no, I don't want to go to the left too much. I don't want to go to the right too much. I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to, come out of my comfort zone. This is all I want to do right here. You're not going to grow. You're not going to excel. You're just going to kind of stay right there in that little bubble. And I think you guys are destined for such greatness that whatever fears you have, I do believe that once you pray and you give those fears to God, that God can help you. You know what I'm saying? And y'all can do anything you really want to do. So if you had to encourage somebody, Faith, to get over their fears, if you had to like tell somebody, don't be afraid, you know, try this or try that. How would you encourage somebody not to be afraid to do something? Look in the camera and tell the people, come over this way, son. Yeah. Tell the people how they can overcome their fears and just encourage them.
They can try practicing and then they can do the real thing.
Okay, so you would tell them to just keep practicing until they get comfortable, and then they can do the real thing. So, in what way would you tell them if they just keep saying, well, "I'm just so afraid. I don't know if I can make it." How would you encourage them that they can make it?
I would help them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And yeah.
Okay. So you want to show your nails? Are your nails still done? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, show this hand. Just show one hand. Okay. So Kiki did her nails. Show your nails. Show your nails. So,
This is her natural nails. This is gel polish.
okay. Go ahead. You go ahead. Explain. You
This is
explain.
natural. It's her gel because she only 10. We ain't gonna pay for the acrylic yet. But these are natural. When I put little rhinestones, they still surviving. So, yeah, this is the gel natural nail.
Okay.
And with it being filed and shaped and all this.
Awesome. Awesome. So Kiki, if you had to encourage somebody to not be afraid and just step out on faith and do whatever it is they're afraid to do, how would you encourage the people, to not be afraid anymore? What would you say to them?
If it's something that you really, really want to do, or
Mhm.
like me, I just wanted to do it too, because I like to get my nails done. And I like to get my hair done.
Mm-hmm.
So, therefore, when I get older, I got to spend a whole lot of money. I just go ahead and jump to it. So, I
Right.
feel as if it's something you really, really want to do, just go ahead and take the leap into it.
Amen.
Instead of doubting yourself or looking back. Or what I did do was tell everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knew till I
Come on.
posted her nails.
Preach, girl.
When I posted her nails, that's what everybody was like, oh, you gonna do my nails? Blase, blase. But yeah.
So you're saying that one of the things that can help you to overcome your fear is not to tell too many people, because sometimes people can be like, "Why you want to do that?" If they have something negative to say, do you guys think that that can put fear in you?
It can.
Yeah, listening to other
wanna
people.
do it,
Uh-huh.
and can make you have second thoughts.
And probably second guess yourself
Second
and your
guess what you're
talents.
doing,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
And 9 out of 10, that person just probably mad at the point right there.
Mm-hmm.
But that right there is gonna make you feel bad, and then it's gonna. And when you see that person that told you that, it's gonna be like, oh well, hey,
Right.
something I can pick up on. And I
Right.
feel like the purpose of them doing that is
Mm-hmm.
only for them, so they can feel better for themselves.
Okay. Okay, thank you, thank you. She said, Kiki, this is my Cash App name. Da 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 da. She said, request $20 from her so she can sow a seed into your business when we're done with the live. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, and blessings to you for sowing a seed into her. She is very serious about her gift, and I'm telling you, she's very serious. She's in the room practicing all the time. She also I got her this mannequin where she practices doing hair. Oh, what's your mannequin?
Her name is Storm.
Oh, pardon me, Storm, honey. So she does Storm hair. She can braid. She asked me to do other people's hair. She's actually really good. She's done my hair. You guys remember when I came on and I had my natural hair out,
That was
and
all
I
me.
had some braids right here. And then the other time when I came, I had the two long braids going all the way back with my natural hair.
That was me.
That was her work.
That was me.
So anytime you see me, I'm here with my natural hair, and I have if it's braid or if it's loose, that's her work. Right. That's her. Right. Her practice doll name. I bought a real professional. She got a tripod. She got all of the things that they use in the cosmetology school. She has all of the professional stuff. I bought her all real stuff. And but I didn't know she gave her a name. So her name is Storm. So she's really, really good at what she does. She takes her time. She's really for her to be 17, she puts a lot of pride into her work when she does nails. Hopefully, I can get my toes done this weekend. I've been trying to get an appointment.
My nails.
So you did it the day or yesterday?
This was Saturday.
Okay, so she did her nails
My nails
Saturday.
from Saturday. This is a short acrylic with the powder and actual liquid.
Make sure you come right here so the people on YouTube can see you too.
This is the short acrylic. So it's just short. I had long nails, but I took them off and I did these.
Good job. Good job. And like I said, she's very particular about her work, honey. So I'm really excited. Hopefully, I really want them to have entrepreneurial spirit because sometimes you look around at the world and it's like nothing is sure anymore. So I really wanted them to have things that they can always fall back on and always be able to make them some money doing. So
yeah, your girl's gonna go to college. I ain't gonna be eating
this. Yes, no.
Not gonna be eating this.
And she's learning how to cook. So, she got one more year in high school, and then you're gonna do what? Graduate. Hiya. Graduation. Ooh, I felt something right through there. Every time I say that word, I feel something stirring in my spirit. So, wait, huh? Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry. I'm back. That girl said she gonna drive my Jeep. Ooh, help me, Holy Ghost. Child, give me a sip of coffee.
I don't know why she like this.
Okay, so I'm back. So now, Faith, you have a guitar. So
and I have a karaoke machine.
Oh yeah, and she has how you say it? Karaoke machine. You felt it too, Sharika? Yes, honey. Something about that word graduation. You just get your spirit elevated. Make you feel like he coming somewhere. He just drawing nigh unto you. You just feel his presence every time you hear the word graduation. Oh, see there, you felt something right through that. Those of you that got children getting ready to graduate, every time I say the word graduation, you all just wave your hand. If you can't say a word, you all just wave your hand, honey. And so, look at my baby looking at me. I see you. So listen.
Wait, should I get my guitar?
You want to play a song right quick? Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Hurry. Oh, didn't see that coming. So why don't you just talk to the people for a little while and tell them, do teenagers have certain fear?
Yes, they most definitely do.
So what's one of the biggest things you think teenagers deal with?
The main fear that teenagers have, like in high school, is popularity.
Okay.
Where they don't fit in. If they don't fit in, they feel as if they're a loner, they don't have nobody, or like they just can't talk to nobody. Or you may notice that kid. I know we all have that one kid that's the odd one out at school. Right. Y'all probably had it too. But that's what popularity is the most thing. It's like what's the word I'm looking for?
So do you think is that like the number one thing in high school still, like either you're in or you're out? You're either in with the popular crowd or you in with the not so popular crowd. So do you think that's where a lot of the bullying comes from?
That's where it mainly comes from, and then you just have the nasty people in general. But if like my school, everybody has their own crew. Right. Everybody hangs out with their own crew. I hang out with a select few people. Right. I'm a popular person, but I keep it to a minimum. Like, right. Everybody knows my name. Everybody know her name. Everybody know everybody's name. So, right. But the people that I do circle myself around, they're more like family. Okay. So it's never no misunderstanding on them. Okay. So that's the main source in high school is popularity, and that actually begins in middle school. Oh, okay. So yeah. That's so. What age you think do young people start feeling like I got to do this to fit in, and if I don't do this, then I'm not gonna fit in? Age? Come down, Sunky. Right down. Oh, no. So you think probably like 13? Whenever you hit 6th grade.
So that's
That's
what,
when it
12,
really
12,
matters.
13 ish.
Cause elementary school, it ain't nothing. Y'all still got recess.
Right.
Y'all got recess, snack time, all this.
Right.
High school, middle school, there's no more recess.
Mhm.
And your snack time is while your teacher is talking. We all know that. We be sneaking in our purse to get a snack.
Right.
So, I mean, you either in or you out, but it's mainly between popularity and people that already go through stuff at home. Like, for example, if somebody's dealing with depression, they want to stay to themselves.
Right.
Like they're trying to find a way out of their depression by trying to fit in with everybody else and do what everybody else is doing.
So have you noticed that a lot
In high school?
with people your age?
Yes, ma'am.
When they have their fear actually turns into depression because they don't know where they fit in at, and they don't know which crowd they want to hang out with. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
So
it's a lot of them, especially it's freshmen, which is ninth grade.
Mhm.
Freshmen and sophomores is where you really notice it. By your junior, I promise you ain't gonna care. I promise.
So what would you say if we have young people watching us tonight? How would you encourage them to deal with their fears at school about fitting in and things like that? What would you tell them?
Well, from my experience, baby, sometimes you gotta walk in the hallway by yourself.
Whose kid is this?
You gotta walk the lunch by yourself, walk to class. I mean, it's nothing wrong with walking in the hallway by yourself,
Right.
Going to lunch, sitting by yourself at lunch. Like I have no issue doing it. I
Right.
do it on some days when I just
Right.
don't feel like being bothered.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you have to understand, like, it's life. Not everybody gonna like you. Not everybody gonna
That's true.
accept you.
That's true.
Therefore, you just gotta be fine with. You gotta be comfortable with yourself before you be comfortable with everybody else or trying to fit in with everybody else.
I totally agree with that.
And that comes from confidence and esteem and all that.
Okay, awesome. Good job. Good job. All right, so Faith has went and grabbed her guitar, and you gonna play them a quick little song?
I can play some notes.
Okay, so why don't you play the scale for them?
Okay, so this is a G note. This is an F note. This is an A note. This is a B note. A C note. And that's it.
Now you have a little piece of a song that you know how to play. You still remember how to play that?
Because in school we switch specials, so
Okay, so that means you have to practice more, right?
Mhm.
All right. So, all right, ladies, thank you for joining me tonight. So, is there anything else you guys want to say to the people?
No, just don't be afraid to be by yourself.
Don't be afraid to be by yourself. You heard it here first from a 17-year-old. All right, guys, thank you so much. Tell everybody bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Good night, ladies.
Good night.
All right, so guys, those were my girls. They wanted to come on with me tonight, so I said I would let them come on for a few minutes with me, and then we are going to get into the nitty gritty. I want to talk to you guys tonight about facing the fears within, because a lot of times our fears are really internal. You know, they're inside of us, and we try to do some of everything to overcome our fears, but a lot of times what we don't realize is that everywhere we go, we carry that fear with us because the fears are internal. I remember growing up, pardon me, and as a really little girl, I was afraid of everything, honey. I was afraid if the wind blew too hard. I was afraid of whatever. I was just always afraid, and just always fearful of everything, you know, and that fear followed me into my adulthood. So as a child, I was afraid of a lot of things. But when I became an adult, the one thing that I always was afraid of, and it's so funny that I've been trying to come on and talk about facing your fear for a week now. And every time I would set to come on, something else would happen. And then all of a sudden my laptop decided it just wanted to not cooperate. So I had to take my laptop in to get repaired and cleaned up and all that good stuff. And yesterday, yeah, I took it yesterday, and but I hadn't been able to do anything with it. So I was just trying to wait, see maybe it'll come back on or whatever, but it never did. And so Faith was asking me, she was like, Nana, what's wrong? I said, well, I'm really sad because my laptop is not working. And so she was like, well, look at it this way. You get a free day off, you know. And to her, you know, that was, you know, be glad about it. In my mind, I'm thinking, child, I can't get nothing done without my laptop, you know. And so, but what it did, that time not having my laptop, it forced me to deal with something that I had been putting off dealing with. And it's along the lines of this particular topic. And so what happened, I had this really weird dream a few nights ago, and I did not understand the dream. So today I called my mom and I was told my mom about the dream. And my mom began to tell me the things that I had dreamt about were things that happened before I was even born. And so that kind of started me really thinking about the things that I had been holding on to, you know. And sometimes we can hold on to stuff and not really know what the root of it is. You know, I could never figure out, like, what am I really afraid of? Am I really afraid of failure, or am I more afraid of succeeding? Because I think with me, I remember years ago, my brother was talking to me about fear. And one of the things he said to me, he was like, well, Benita, I don't believe you're afraid of failing, because he says, I've watched you and just about everything you set your hands to do, you're succeeding, you have succeeded at it. He says, I think what your biggest issue is, you're afraid to succeed too much because you think people like you better if you don't succeed too much. And he was so right. He was right, because like my baby was saying, it's hard, you know. We think that's just a high school issue, but it's not. It's an adult issue when you have that fear about, where do I fit in, you know, what group am I going to fit in, where's my group of people, you know. In the church we call them cliques. Nevertheless, you still want everybody want to fit in somewhere with somebody, you know, at some time or another, whether you consider it a clique or whatever. You want to find your group, you want to find your people, you know, you want to find where you fit in. And so a lot of times coming up, even through ministry, I would find myself, you know, uh trying to fix the way I talk, you know, so I can fit in more, you know, trying to not be who it's a lot of work trying to pretend to be somebody else so other people will accept you. That's a lot of work. And so with that came a lot of fears, like, okay, so if I slip up and start talking like I talk, they're gonna know that, you know, I ain't down by law, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So even when I went into adulthood, I carried a lot of fears. I always feared that people would not accept me for who I am. I always feared that, you know, I was not going to do something right, or I would do something wrong to make people feel a certain way. I really had a notion of people pleasing, whether it was in ministry, in business, in relationships, what have you. You know, I had always been plagued by that for whatever reason. I'm not sure where the root of it came from, but when I was talking to my mother today, my mom began to tell me some things that I did not know, you know. And so it started to register in my mind. This is why I am this way. This is why I see things this way. This is why I see things this way. This is why I handle things that way. So she began to talk to me and tell me some things. And she helped me she really today helped me work through some things. And we'll go into those things a little bit later on, because you guys know when I start doing stuff like this, 9 times out of 10 is going to be a series. So I'm not going to try to get it all to you tonight. I just wanted to give you a little introduction tonight about dealing with the fear within us. And I did want to read a little bit of something to you, but I really just kind of wanted to lay a foundation today, because like I said, I've been trying to talk about this for the last 2 weeks maybe. But like every time I got ready to do it, either something would happen or I would freeze up, because, you know, anytime you come to a platform such as this. And thank you guys so much. I wanted to mention, remember I said I wanted to reach the 10,000 mark by the first quarter in the new year. Well, we've already doubled that, and we're just still in January. The last count, I think we were at 17. We had reached 17,000 people just in the last 60 days. So you guys keep tuning in, keep sharing. Those of you that share, thank you. I do ask that when you come in, when you click on the video, go ahead and hit share. It costs you absolutely nothing to share. And that is the best support you could give, is to click share when you come in, okay? All right, so one of the things about fear is that if you don't face your fear, and if you don't recognize that fear has set up, I mean, set down in there. I didn't even know I was still carrying fear. And uh, my mom, she said I had some anger and some other things in there. I didn't even know that, honey. I just thought, I was just living my best life out here, you know. But a lot of times when the Lord slows you down and He puts you in that mirror, you don't have any choice but to look at yourself. So this series is not for me to come to say, hey guys, you need to look at yourself. No, 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 no. This series is me taking a look into myself and sharing with you guys my journey, taking that look inside myself at my fears. And pre-adventure, some of you, something that I say will register to some of you, and it'll cause you to take this journey with me, to go to your mirror. You face your man in the mirror. You face whatever fears you've had to overcome, whatever hurt, whatever. My mom said something to me. She said, what did she call it? Soul wounds. When something was so deep and so traumatic and so dramatic, and soul trauma, that's what she called it. Soul trauma. Soul trauma normally will happen to those of us that are rooted and grounded. I'm talking about in the church, and something happens sometimes in the church that damages us to our soul. But what happens, we just push it down and push it down and keep pushing it down, and we bury it, and we just put everything. We put singing on top of it, shouting, preaching, running in ministry, doing this, and we put all that stuff on top of it. And it's not until God gets ready to elevate you or take you in a different direction that all of a sudden this stuff start coming up, and you're like, wait a minute, where's this coming from? Well, it's been there all the time. We were just afraid to let that thing come up so we could face it, because a lot of time when we start facing that man in the mirror, it's not a pretty sight. It's not what we want to see, because a lot of us, we thought we dealt with that. Child, I've been over that didn't even bother me. We're notorious for pretending like things didn't hurt us as bad as they did. And that was me. I was just like, oh, I'm over that. That happened when I was a child. I was 16 when they put me out the church. Whatever. You know. But the reality of it is that thing has kept me from going into some areas that I know that I'm supposed to be in. And it's all because I'm afraid that if I get there, then I'm gonna mess up. I'm afraid if I get there, then they can take that from me, because that's what happened when I was 16 years old. They put me in a position when I was 14, but then when I got pregnant, they took it back. No one ever came back to restore me. No one came to pray for me. It was just like, you done messed up. You know, they did tell me, well, you're in a high visibility, position. I'm like, I'm 14, like I'm 14, lady. She was like, well, a lot of the young girls look up to you, and we just can't have you being that kind of an influence over the young girls. And so I was hiding behind my door. They waited till my parents were not home, and they came to my house to put me out the church. And my mom was telling me today, she said, Benita, you probably never dealt with that. You probably never actually said how you really felt. She says, even when you talk, because my parents were not home, my mom nor my dad was home. She said, even when you first told us what happened, she said, you was just so matter of fact about it. Like it really didn't bother you. She said, but I know that had to bother you because you really loved what you was doing, you know, and I had been doing it since I was 14, and did my job very well, So my mom was sharing with me today. She says, that's probably where a lot of your fears come from, because when it comes to ministry and working with people in church and what I will and won't tolerate, I'll stay as long as I can stay till you make it unbearable, for me to stay. I hate changing churches. I hate leaving an assignment. I can know the assignment is done and I'll sit right there. I'll stay right there. Because I just don't like to have to get to know somebody else, I don't like to do all of that. I like change, but I like change at my own pace. And so my mom was telling me, well, that's part of that fear that you have to deal with, and that comes from what happened to you in church. And I never even equated the two together, that being put out the church had had anything to do with fear and how I carried fear, dealing with ministry, dealing with people, dealing with relationships. I had no idea that those two things, or those two events in life, were even remotely related, let alone, that I have this fear because this happened to me. I wouldn't have thought about that. And so a lot of times when you do have things that you've never just really kind of brush it off because you had to keep going, you went into that survival mode. I always say that anytime God gets ready to elevate me, or I go through a shifting of any kind, stuff like this comes up. But I'm trying to figure out, I was asking my mom, like, how come this didn't come up before now? I've been in ministry, like I said, since I was 14. I'm 52 now. How come this didn't come up when I turned 20? Why it didn't come up when I turned 30? Why not when I turned 40? Why not when I turned 50? Why now at 52 this is coming up, And so my mom was like, well, only thing I could think, God really wants you to deal with this because of where he's taking you. And there's some things he has prepared for you, but you have to be ready to handle everything he has for you. And perhaps this is that one thing that you have not uh, dealt with in its entirety, so that you are prepared for everything that he has for you. And so I was telling my mom about the dream, and she began to tell me. She was like, say that again. So I would tell her this. She says, well, that happened for real. And I said, well, who is such and such? So I would tell her the names I heard in the dream. And she would say to me, she said, did you know that was your dad's nickname when he was a young boy? No, I didn't know that. It just different things I was telling her that I saw and heard in my dream. And she kept saying, wow. She was like, Benita, everything you're talking about happened before you were even born. She said, you saw all this in a dream? And I'm like, yes, ma'am. This is what I dreamed about. And I said, I want to call you and tell you my dream because I didn't know what it meant. She said, those are the people that you really take after. And she began to just talk to me and tell me. She said, your dad's, because we were in my dream, we were at my dad's biological dad's funeral, a man I've never met. He was already dead before I was born. So I never got to meet my dad's father, my grandfather. So my mom started telling me all of this stuff about them. They're really educated people. Um, he was a professor of theology and all of that. They were a very prestige family. She began to just tell me, she was like, they wore the hats and the white gloves and all of that. She was like, they was real prim and proper and da 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 da. She was like, just like you are. And so sometimes we'll go through our entire life wondering, what is it? Maybe some of you don't do this, and maybe some of you have never had to face this particular kind of fear, being in business or ministry, relationships, what have you, and trying to be who you are around people that will only accept you if you don't be who you are. Does that make any sense to anybody? And so that was my biggest thing, because I always tried to pretend like I wasn't who I was. Sometimes along the way, I would lose my own identity. And so I would begin to behave like whoever I was with at that time, or I would try to, just get in where I fit in with them. And I wouldn't just be myself. Like, you know, uh, if they would say, well, you talk like that, or why do you talk like that? Then I would try to calm that down and kind of try to let my, don't have such an southern draw, or try to downplay, my dialect, and I would try not to over pronunciate, and I would try to, you know, throw slang in there a little bit. And that's not an indictment against anybody. Remember, I'm just sharing my story and my journey with you. And so, but these are the things I did from high school, even into adulthood. You know, um, I was sharing with my mom that I was having dinner with someone, and they were like, "Well, why do you talk so proper?" I'm like, "What do you mean? This is the way I talk. I really don't know what you mean by proper." And I'm still like, at 52, I still don't understand what people actually mean when they say, "Well, you talk too proper." Like, what is too proper? Because I pronounce my words and I enunciate. Like, I still don't get it. I don't really know what that means. To me, it's a little bit of mean girl spirit. You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit of undertone bullying there, but hey, such is life. And so I had to come to this place and say, look, I'm tired. It's a lot of work trying not to be me so people will accept me. It's a lot of work trying to be somebody else other than who I actually am, just so people in ministry would accept me, just so people then, around me would accept me, just so people that say, oh, hey, sis, we sisters, until, you get to come in my life and see this is just me. I'm not going to be any different than I am. What you see on Facebook is really who I am. If you've ever had the pleasure of having company with me, whether in my home, in your home, at a restaurant, or wherever, this is just me. And so I don't have to put on airs, none of that, because that can be weighty. That can become so weighty, trying to be something that you're not, so that grown people, particularly people in ministry, can accept you, because you're so afraid that if they see the real you, will they still accept you? And we can spend our whole life trying to get people to accept us for who we actually are. And I'm telling you, it only take one thing for them to see about you that they were like, you know what? Nah, she fake, she phony, she's this and she's that. And honey, when you start seeing that again, it started stoking fear in me. I'm like, okay, so maybe I can tone it down a little bit. Maybe, people know, I make no secret about what I go through. You guys know I am a brain tumor survivor. You guys know that. I made no secret about that. I share my journey with you guys. I share my journey about being diagnosed with clinical depression after my daughter suddenly died, and I couldn't just get back like I thought I could, and that's still a road I'm traveling. I don't know about time healing all things. I don't know about that, but uh so I make no secret about any of that, and I think a lot of times people, they want to see the broken you, but you know I, I don't know how to not trust God to the point where I just lose all hope. You know what I'm saying? And just give up trying. And so, and I think what happens is when